Hey guys, it's Squall, and I have no idea what episode we're on, because it's been a while, huh? But this is Everlasting Summer, and you guys know what this is. And I do believe Uliana had just left to go get a flashlight because they're about to go find Shirk, because he keeps getting lost. Fun times. I was just about to suggest that myself. It seemed I would not only have to visit an abandoned camp at night, but also look after a fidgety child. Well, since it's Uliana, I should be twice as cautious. Electronic had told us that the old building was built right after the war. It looked like a kindergarten, or like a barracks I expected, and definitely could hold less pioneers than today's camp. It had been abandoned for about 20 years. Uliana skipped forward as if everything was just a game to her. I was ill at ease. Actually, that was normal for a person in my situation. In the night forest with scary animals and birds eager to swoop down on you, the full moon and this whole other world I had come into contact into, I totally messed that up. I had come into not too long ago. I might be better off all alone, without needing to look after Uliana who was running in front of me. How hasn't she tripped over something yet? Listen, be careful.
Or what?
That looks so adorable. She turned around so quickly that I shivered. Nothing, you may hurt yourself.
Are you worried about me?
Of course I am. I mean, that's normal in such a situation. Uliana pouted. Listen, I decided to continue our conversation. It's more relaxing and less scary this way. But what is it about the old camp? You were saying back there at the square.
Yeah, it's a really scary place.
They say that all the pioneers died there and became ghosts which guard the last earthly refuge. What did they die from? It was kind of hard to believe for scary tales.
How should I know? I wasn't even born back then.
But you say it so confidently.
Got information from a reliable source.
And where would that be from? From Lisa?
Not gonna tell you.
So what happened next? They died and became ghosts?
And that's all.
What do you mean that's all?
And now the souls of the dead pioneers roam around the camp and take everyone who dares to enter the world of the dead.
Wow. Okay, move along. Time passed. We went deeper into the depths of the woods where the trees enclosed everything. Suddenly I realized that the forest had gone completely silent. As if the night birds had hidden and waiting for something, and the insects had dug into the ground. Even the wind had died away. I imagined that the streams of moonlight breaking through the thick foliage were ringing like plucked strings. At last, trees parted, and we walked out to a large glade. In the middle of it was an old building resembling a kindergarten. It was shrouded in a thick fog. It looked like we'd come out into a cemetery, and the old camp building at its center was a crypt. According to Uliana, there were pioneer souls roaming here. Truly, it was like a mass grave. I shivered and clenched the flashlight tighter. A dreadful place, to tell you the truth.
Oh, come on.
She patted me on the back cheerfully, which only made me more scared. I was about to move forward when the moon showed among clouds, illuminating the glade, the old camp building, and us. Under that light, everything seemed not so old. The crumbling brickwork, rusty slide and merry-go-round, the few panes of glass that miraculously remained in some of the windows, they all became more vivid. I started to imagine that unknown monsters came out to the glade from the forest, a place of eternal darkness where even the moon can't reign. I hoped that they fear the light, like vampires. Though maybe they could turn into giant wolves at full moon, like werewolves.
Why have you stopped?
I'm thinking,
About what?
why would Shirk want to come to such a place?
How should I know? We'll ask him when we find him.
Yes, obviously. I mumbled and followed Uliana. She walked more carefully now, looking under her feet, stopping occasionally and even looking back several times. That's natural. In some places the grass reached her chest height, and nobody knew what could there be on the... Okay, yeah, it wasn't my fault, it's written weird. What there could be on the ground: scrap metal, stones, shattered glass. We finally reached the door. Uliana stopped and said,
Well, here we are.
as if you'd want to race. This isn't a game.
You're
What?
boring.
I made a displeased face and stepped confidently into the darkness. It was dangerous to let Uliana go first. Dangerous for her, dangerous for me, maybe even for all of the humanity. The inside of the old camp building made an even more depressing impression. I even felt sad for it for a moment. Or probably for the people who lived here back then. It had surely been full of joy of the children in the past. Pioneers ran around, played games I had forgotten. A strict leader like Olga Dmitrievna maintained order. One session ended, a new one started. And now it's just standing here, crumbling, rotting, forgotten.
Look.
Uliana gave me an old ruined doll, falling apart from the damp. One more piece of the past. So what?
Nothing.
She moved out of the light, but I noticed sorrow on her face. As sad as a cemetery.
Scary.
I haven't seen anything scary yet. It was indeed more relaxing in here than outside. It really was like a cemetery, as you look for a specific grave while walking among countless tombstones, feeling discomfort inside, but then you find it and your soul calms. As you lie next to it, I shuddered and let the flashlight play around the room. There was no sign of Shirk. However, what did I expect to find here? His corpse? Looks like he isn't here.
What about the second floor?
Shirk! I called loudly, but only my echo answered me.
Shirk, come out.
See?
You should check anyway.
Okay. There were no signs of life on the second floor either. I sat on the stairs and hung my head, feeling doomed. Where to next? We can't walk around the whole forest. I'm already sleepy.
Why do you whine so much?
Uliana was irritated.
Whining just like a kid.
Oh, am I wrong?
Right or wrong, what's the difference? If we're looking for Shirk, we must find him.
But how? I begged.
I don't know. Somehow.
Uliana looked like a strict teacher and myself like a careless schoolboy. But shouldn't it be the other way around?
Look!
I turned the light in the direction she pointed and noticed a trapdoor in the corner, surrounded by garbage. It looked like it had been opened not too long ago. He must be down there for sure. Uliana rushed to the hatch and made a great effort to open it. Why would he go down there? It was probably, I don't know, some villagers. Is there a village nearby? I don't know, Uliana replied, breathing heavily. She hadn't managed to open the trap door. I started thinking. There was surely a possibility that Shirk might be there. I didn't know much about this world after all. Actually, I knew nothing. Why should the local residents act according to my logic? Could it be that he tried to escape down there, running away from wolves? Are there any wolves though? Maybe owls. Okay, let's check it out. I strained my muscles and managed to open the trap door. It crashed loudly on the cracked wooden floor, and at the same moment Uliana leaned over the hatchway, lighting up the basement with the flashlight. Some sort of tunnel. A tunnel? I pulled her back by the scruff of the neck to look in there myself. Hey! Curiosity killed the cat. There was indeed a long tunnel running into the darkness. It looked like a dungeon from a computer game. There wasn't any danger at first. No waist-deep water, no rats, no zombies. Okay, let's climb down there to look, but be careful. Roger that. Uliana beamed. It was really dark down there. The flashlight did little to help. It dimly illuminated concrete walls, lamps hanging from the ceiling, entangled in wires, and garbage abundantly covering the floor. We slowly moved forward. I held Uliana's hand, fearing she would run ahead of me. Probably I was a bit worried about myself too, not wanting to be alone in this thick darkness. Maybe we should go back? Sure, it couldn't have gone so far. What if he had a flashlight? Well, even with a flashlight, what would he be doing here? I don't know. Are you interested in what lies ahead? Not a bit. I'm more interested in... I didn't finish the sentence. A massive metal door suddenly appeared before us, as if from thin air. I instantly noticed a biohazard sign. A bomb shelter. I realized. Probably. Have you heard anything about it? I don't know. Does it matter? Does it? What if there's radiation? What radiation? Where from? Yes, you're right. I took hold of the door's wheel and tried to move it. It yielded to my surprise and groaned like a dying dinosaur. The door opened at last and Uliana ran in there as soon as it did. Hey! Behind the door was probably the main shelter room. There were several beds next to me, some devices near the farthest walls, lockers, fluorescent lamps on the ceiling brightly illuminated the room. Where does the electricity come from? Are the backup generators still working? After all these years? I turned off the flashlight to save the battery. Uliana started to rummage in the lockers at once, taking out gas masks, packages, and various tools. Don't you have anything better to do? No? She looked at me with displeasure. I sat on the neatly made bed and looked around one more time. Right across the room from me was a door, the same as the one we entered. Could Shirik have gone through there? And why? Why the long face? Just tired, I honestly confessed. And rest for a while. Uliana jumped at me and pushed me in the chest. I reeled back in surprise and hit my head against the wall. What are you doing?
I grabbed her arms and pulled her towards me. She lost her balance and fell next to me. Ouch! You started this. Uliana stuck out her tongue and sat up. Well, what's next? There, the other door. Oh, sure, predicted a nuclear war and decided to hide beforehand, did he? Maybe he did. Maybe. The shelter is too close to the surface. It could protect against the radiation, but if the bombs fell close enough... You're so serious about these matters. She smirked. I really didn't know when to be serious with her and when to joke. It seems like the age difference between us really matters here. How big is it? 10 years or more? I sighed and stood up from the bed. Okay, let's try. But that door was less compliant than the first one. The bolts creaked, but the wheel didn't budge a centimeter. Seems jammed. Let me. Uliana rushed at the door with a crowbar she got who knows where and applied herself to it with all of her unimpressive weight. That gave us a chance. I helped her and soon the door fell to the floor with a bang. The hinges turned out to be completely rusted. Seems that not everything was made to last back then. Behind the door, there was a tunnel almost the same as the one we had come here through. Don't do anything stupid. I took Uliana by the hand and stepped out of the room. It was another endless tunnel. The ceiling seemed to become lower, even though I logically realized that it did not change. Uliana didn't seem to be bothered at all though. She was humming as she walked. It annoyed me more and more. Looks like you're having fun. Of course I am. Aren't you? No, I don't see any reason to have fun. We should find Sheer quickly and get out of here. He may not be here at all. Then why the hell? Look! Uliana snatched the flashlight from my hand. There was a huge hole in the ground a couple of meters in front of us. He may be down there. She walked to the edge and leaned. Some rails? It looks like there was a mine under this tunnel. The depth of the hole was low enough to let us climb out of it, so I knew what Uliana would say next. Come on! I wanted to object, but she had jumped down, leaving me in complete darkness. Hey! I had to follow her. I don't know what they dug for here, but the mine had been abandoned for a long time. The planks had become damp, the rails were rusted, earth broke through the walls in some places. The whole tunnel, leading into the unknown, was suspicious. It looked like it was about to collapse and bury us. Come on! Uliana desperately pulled on my arm. Where to? Why? Why would Shirk be doing here? What would Shirk be doing here? What if... She made a serious face. What if he is sitting here somewhere, injured and waiting for help, and we just turn around and go, leaving him to die? I estimated the height of the ceiling one more time and walked slowly after the restless Uliana. Soon we reached the fork. Let's go to the right. Wait! I grabbed her arm. What's the matter? What if it's a dead end, or worse than a dead end, a whole labyrinth? Well, she thought. Let's mark the starting point. Uliana picked up a large stone from the ground and scratched a cross on one of the beams that supported the ceiling. Do you think that will help? In another universe, you certainly did. It will. Probably I will have to choose where to go. I just can't leave it to a little girl. Here we are. Where? Somewhere? I don't know.
But she was right about something. At least we'd gotten out of the labyrinth. After all these turns and forks, I wasn't sure that we'd ever make it back. But on the other hand, why wouldn't this mine have many exits? Leon opened the door and stared into the darkness. So, you won't go first as usual?
Well,
Okay. I stepped over the threshold. A small room was beyond the door, maybe a storage room for the bomb shelter. There were bottles and cigarette stubs, which means that somebody had been here before us. It was an encouraging fact by itself, but now I was certain that there was another exit from the mine since, well, they couldn't have come the same way as we did. The ray of light moved around the room, examining every corner. Suddenly, it lit up a human figure. It was Shurek, huddling up against one of the walls. "Hey, there you are. We've been looking for you all night and you..." It seemed he hadn't even noticed us, just sitting and mumbling something. "Shurek!"
Who's that?
"What do you mean, who? You're a rescue team. Get up and let's go."
I won't go anywhere with you,
he mumbled.
You'll lead me around these tunnels again, I know. I won't go anywhere. I'll stay right here. You won't get me.
Stop with your nonsense. It looks like he's gone insane.
No, you won't trick me this time.
Stop it already. I took a few steps towards Shirk, but he jumped up at once and waved a metal rod.
Don't come near me. Leave me alone.
Calm down. It's me, Semyon. Don't you recognize me?
Semyon? No, you are not Semyon.
I noticed that Ulyana, who was standing next to me, had disappeared somewhere.
You're not Semyon, and I'm going to...
In the trembling light, Shirk's hand appeared for a moment, wielding the metal rod. I covered my head instinctively. Nothing. When I opened my eyes, he had already disappeared. Ulyana stood next to me and giggled, holding the metal rod.
Just like a scout.
Yeah, a scout. From somewhere far off, the devilish laughter of Shurk was heard.
You ran away.
Screw him. I don't care if he dies here. I spat on the floor and leaned against the wall. If it hadn't been for Ulyana, I wasn't prepared for that. Shurk might not have killed me, but he could have seriously injured me. To be left lying here injured would be equivalent to death. We don't even know when help will arrive. And would they be able to find me in this labyrinth? Why the hell did I agree to come here? Indulging that girl?
You look like going to kill somebody.
If a good candidate presents itself. Ulyana shuddered. No, not you. Might be nice to spank you, but there is no reason to kill you. She smirked. Yet.
Oh, you.
Okay. It's definitely time to get out of here. We can send our special forces, rescue teams, Ghostbusters, whatever tomorrow. I don't care.
Will we go back?
I looked around the room once again and noticed the door to my left. Wow. The door was just like in the bomb shelter, a massive metal one. I pulled the wheel a couple of times, but it just creaked only. If only I had that crowbar.
Doesn't work?
Ulyana asked in a depressed voice. No. Actually, I didn't have any strength left. In another situation, I would strain myself, ask Ulyana to help, look for something to use as a lever. But now I just wanted to get out of this mine. I wanted to hope that there was a path of least resistance for us to take. And that meant hoping that I remembered the way through the labyrinth. Well, let's go back.
Okay.
She smiled and took my hand. We walked even slower on the way back to the labyrinth. Stones scattered under our feet, water dripped from the ceiling onto our heads, feeling like drops of molten tin. Uliana quieted down and followed me in silence. Did something happen?
What do you mean?
It's strange for you to be quiet for more than a minute.
No, everything is alright.
But something was wrong for sure. One fork after another. A minute ago, I was certain that at the next corner I would see the cross Uliana had scratched before. I was wrong. My faith in my ability to guide us was melting away with each second. Well, whatever. I decided to distract myself with conversation.
It's alright, it's just...
What?
It all went so wrong with Shirk, and now we're stuck here.
You saved my life. You should be proud of yourself. I tried to encourage her, but Uliana didn't seem to get it.
But if I hadn't taken his metal rod away, he may have stayed.
Whether he stayed or not, what's the difference now? We'd still have to get out from here, wouldn't we?
Yes, but...
Everything's alright. That psycho will find a way out for sure. I was really sure about that. Finally, we came to a long tunnel, on the wall of which was the cross. Uliana cheered up a bit and we almost ran the rest of the way to the surface. See? The full moon shined above us again. The building of the old camp didn't look nearly so ominous as before, especially in comparison to the bomb shelter in the catacombs.
That was cool, wasn't it?
It looks like Uliana's gotten her usual cheerfulness back. I'm not too sure about cool, but I'm glad we got out.
So, shall we go and look for Shirk?
What? I was speechless for a moment, unable even to finish the sentence. Are you crazy? We already found him. Tomorrow Olga Dmitrievna and the police can go down there and catch that caveman to run tests on him.
Well,
no wells. Back to the camp to sleep. I walked rapidly from that dreadful place, ignoring the furious Uliana. They misspelled her name. Within 10 minutes, we were already back at the square. Okay, that's all for today. Dismissed, soldier. Uliana saluted and was about to leave when suddenly she yelled and started to excitedly wave her hands. Look, look! I turned to the benches and saw Shirk lying on one of them. Oh my. It was really hard to wake him up, as if the caveman had decided to sleep for a year beforehand.
What? Where am I?
He mumbled in his sleep. Do you want to explain yourself now?
Explain what? We've been looking for you all night, and you jumped at Semyon with a metal rod, and then ran away.
Uliana jumped around the bench, ready to explode.
What happened? And why am I here?
Shirk seemed to come to his senses. Oh, do be so kind as to explain that. How did you get out of the mine? Why did you go there in the first place? Everything step by step.
What mine?
There was such sincere surprise in his eyes that I started to doubt. You really might not remember anything. Where have you been for the last 12 hours?
I don't know.
Shirk sat and his face frowned with the effort of thinking.
I went to the old camp in the morning. People say there was some old equipment there. Parts for the robot. And...
He stared at us in confusion. And
that's all.
So you don't remember?
I don't.
Okay. I sat next to him and leaned back on the bench. The stars shone brightly in the sky. They remember everything, even what Shirk was doing in the bomb shelter. Post-traumatic shock.
What? Such symptoms are experienced by people after heavy stress, after a disaster, for example.
Shirk remarked with a smart look on his face. You should sleep now.
Yes, but
we'll speak tomorrow. Shir looked at me for some time, but then he got up and slowly walked to his cabin without saying a word.
So what is it with him?
He probably forgot everything that happened in the mine.
He's lying.
Look, why would he have to lie?
So he wouldn't have to answer for when he tried to attack you with a metal rod,
she said uncertainly. Doesn't look like it. And does it matter now?
It does. We must find out. The criminal must be punished.
If that rule was applied to you, you would have been placed under house arrest a long time ago. Or worse.
What does that have to do with this? I don't leap at people with a rod.
It wasn't intentional.
He's lying.
He may be lying. I was really exhausted after today, especially this night. And I really didn't care whether Shirk was speaking the truth or just pretending to. It really looks like he doesn't remember anything. I'm going to sleep.
Then
Uliana jumped up and stood on her tiptoes.
Good night.
You too. I don't know. Seemed like there was something special in the expression of her face at that moment. I didn't care. The camp leader had been waiting for me at home.
Thought you wouldn't come back.
I would have expected any reaction from Olga Dmitrievna, except that one.
Since you went with Uliana,
aren't you supposed to worry about us?
Why should I? You're okay.
Oh, okay then. I had neither the strength nor will to argue with the leader or to find out the reasons for her behavior. I took my clothes off and crawled under the blanket. It's all too much for a single person. Looking for Shirk in the dungeons was a job for search and rescue professionals. Doing it with Uliana for certified madmen. But it was in a way fun. I fell asleep with a smile on my face.